Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Andrews, and I'm here with the National Sports Media Association. And today I'm interviewing Mr. Lessels. Mr. Lessels, how are you doing today?
Doing very well, except we're in the middle of a snowstorm, so hopefully the power holds and we can get through this.
Yeah. So before we get started, can we get a little bit of a background on you?
Sure. I don't know how much you want. I live
Just
in
kind of where you started, where you are now.
okay. I live in New Hampshire. I've lived in New Hampshire much of my life. And other than that, a couple places in around New England. Have been a journalist all my life, starting in newspapers back many years ago. And I did that for a long time. And then about 10 years ago, I was a sports writer primarily and did various freelance type stuff. And 10 years ago, I went to work at the University of New Hampshire in their athletic communications department. So for the last 10 years, I've been called the UNH insider, and I do a lot of what I always did in newspapers. I write feature stories and go to games and cover games and do various things like that. So it's kind of the
That's
same
great.
same line of work, but newspapers obviously are struggling, have struggled some, and I found a different way to go about it, and that's been fun, and the whole thing has been fun. It's been a kind of a fun ride.
Definitely. So what got you started or what inspired you to want to cover college sports?
Um, well, I think partly, sports originally. I tell people, I've told people for a long time that when I got out of college and I went into nonfiction, I was in journalism, nonfiction writing, and covered sports and went to the University of New Hampshire and covered sports there as I was going through school and enjoyed that level of competition, that at UNH. And as far as covering colleges, I think it's great. I love the level. I like covering any sport. I like telling stories basically. So I've covered plenty of high school things. I've covered plenty of professional things. College kind of appeals to me. It's it's a fun level, very competitive level, but it's still not a business level. Well, it's more and more a business level, I guess, but ideally is not totally a business level. And at the level of UNH, it's not the ACC and it's not the SEC and it's not, Power Five and stuff like that. It's a level that's probably somewhere between, and that's not Division three. So it's a Division one program, Division one level, and I've covered a lot of the stuff I've covered has been at that level, and it's just a fun level. I think the competition's, it's very devoted athletes and devoted coaches, and there's a lot of intensity. But I've covered some, Boston College type things and enjoyed that too. Enjoyed covering professionals, but college is kind of a nice in between for me.
Definitely. And what do you find most rewarding about covering college athletics?
I just like talking to people, I guess, and having relationships in the field house. When I covered for the newspaper, I was often covered UNH and I covered Dartmouth College and I covered other colleges and stuff. But it's a level where you do get to see people, and in general, they're not as I've certainly found sometimes professional level it's different, and you don't really build you can build relationships, but it's not quite the same. At a college level it's a good way to build relationship with coaches and athletes and athletic trainers and administrators and right down the gamut. And that was one of the things I really have enjoyed working at the University of New Hampshire with is, being I was always covering the team and kind of felt sort of part of the team, only, which is not really the way it should be because you're supposed to be totally objective and stuff. But there would be times when I'd find I was closer, maybe emotionally, than I should be to a team and how it was doing. And then to actually go to UNH and work with the teams and work with the school, that was another aspect of it that I hadn't really done, but I found it quite rewarding and interesting. It's nice to, follow kids through their 4 years or 5 years or 2 years or whatever it is, especially more so these days, and get to know people a little bit and then see what they do as they leave and move on.
Yeah. And do you have any memorable story you'd like to share or something that you really enjoyed recording?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of things. I haven't done it for a long time. So there's a lot of UNH football games. I mean, they play at a level it's called the Football Championship Subdivision, the FCS level, and they've had a tournament system for a long time. And University of New Hampshire went on a run from like 2004 to uh, well, for 14 years from there, and they made the tournament every year, and had a lot of success. And a guy named Rick Santos was a really good quarterback and a great quarterback, and now he's come back to UNH, and he's the head coach, and he played in some games and in some scenarios that I had a chance to be at and cover, and those were great games. Another one was University in Maine and University of New Hampshire played in the national championship in hockey in 1999. It was, these two teams from New England who were bordering states and fierce rivals, and they went across the country. The tournament happened to be in Anaheim this year. Again, I had a chance to go to that, and that was one of the ones where I was really torn. I was working for the Boston Globe at the time, and they sent me out there. Here I am, a University of New Hampshire grad. The team's playing against the University of Maine, and I didn't root in the press box, but I certainly felt like my heart was in one place, and it was one of those places that it was difficult to be objective. But Maine won the game in overtime, and it was a just great experience. It was great, the atmosphere. I mean, that's what I appreciate of it. Again, it's not what you call big time college football, big time college basketball, but it's got the same atmosphere, when you got a full arena and your passionate fans and stuff like that. So those were a couple of sports and a couple of times that I really appreciated.
That's great. Then what advice would you give an inspiring or aspiring sports journalist?
I think it's interesting. I ran into a kid a couple of weeks ago at a basketball game that was a sophomore, a young woman at a sophomore at UNH, and she was shadowing the guy who was doing the color with the play-by-play guy for the game, tournament game, and talking to her a little bit. And I guess we were talking about some of that, and it's challenging, obviously, with the media landscape has changed so much certainly since I was in school, but even in the last 10 years, and you know that better than I do, I'm sure. But one thing she was doing, she was shadowing, she was in a journalism class, and I know you're an intern there, and those are wonderful opportunities and stuff and things that journalists should take advantage of or students should take advantage of, and whatever realm they are, whether that's interns like you're doing, or at UNH we have a great system of in the communications, well, in athletic communications. In the last few years, we've been producing more and more of our own games, which I'm sure Wake Forest does, and I'm sure most colleges do these days. And there's so many opportunities there where we have a professional style studio where where they're producing games and doing all kinds of stuff that I don't know much about, but the kids that are interested in that, the students that are interested in that, are getting a chance to they're on camera and they're behind the camera, they're behind the scenes, they're producing graphics, other content, and they have all sorts of opportunities. So, those aren't internships so much as they're student jobs, I guess. But between that and getting internships in the local business world, the local communications world those are huge. Another thing that I've always thought, and I didn't do, and you being an athlete yourself, what I really wish that I had gone and taken a few theory of coaching classes. And I assume there's still those. I know there were when I was in school, and I always thought they were for the athletes and the phys ed majors and stuff like that. And I played just small level sports, so I don't have the background that a lot of people do, like you do. And but I think some coaching classes would have helped me a lot. I know, and I think that's a pretty good idea too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Well, congratulations on your 2024 National Sports Media Association Award, and thank you for allowing me to interview you today.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been my pleasure.